Hey everyone, this is smpratte, and today we're going to do another market discussion video. Recently there was a first edition base box that sold for $198,000. It's a new record price, and I really want to use that to talk about these more broad topics like price relativity, price versus value. Don't worry cynics, we're going to talk about bubbles and bubble baths, and we're also going to talk about being priced out of the market because I think that's a common theme right now, and I think all of this stuff is related. So as usual, it's going to be more of a free-flowing podcast type video. And we're going to start with that 200K base box. For most serious collectors, this wasn't a surprise, and that's because of price relativity. So what that means in this case is the price of the box in relation to its contents. So if we go back like a year or two ago, when I put up the previous record sale for first edition base box at $80,000, back then the PSA 10 Charizard from that set was earning $40K. Where today, PSA 10 Charizard is easily above $100,000. You have multiple people offering $130, $140, and they can't find a seller because that seller realizes, or that owner, it's like Ash Ketchum kissing Butterfree goodbye. That's a one-way road. When you sell that Charizard, it's probably gone for good because they are being priced out of the market. They understand that they probably won't get it back. So what's interesting is that with this increase in price, I would say the price relativity today is more congruent than what it was when everything was lower. So if we go through some other examples, Charizard above 100K, PSA 10, Blastoise 25K plus, Venusaur underneath that where it belongs. Yes, he's third place. Blastoise got to get their victories when they can. All the holo cards, all the way down to like Magneton, pretty much are sitting or flirting with 10K at this point because it's so hard to find them. Some of these pops are under 100. That's nothing. It's a very, very low pop for a set that's been out over 20 years. And we're just getting started. We're just talking about practice. Like, let's get into the non-holos. I love the non-holos in base because there's nothing comparable in any other Pokemon set. I talked about this before. First edition base is based. It's the most dense, comprehensive set in Pokemon. That's never going to change. You have a price value for everything top to bottom. Just like Alpha, where you have your Power 9, your duals, your playable rares, and your pure lace, and less playable rares, and your playable uncommons, all the way down to the lands. It's the same thing with first edition base. From Charizard to Gust of Wind to the energies, there's a price for everything. So when you get into the non-holos too, that's part of your value. Like Red Cheek Pikachu, numerous copies sold between 7 to 8K PSA 10. Yellow Cheek, the starters, 2 to 4K PSA 10. I mean, even the uncommons, you're talking thousands, some like Wartortle. I don't know what happened with Wartortle. Like, was there a war fought on the back of this turtle's back? Like, the whole Wartortle population is insane. It's like everything is damaged right out of the gate. I have so many Wartortle 9s and 8s, failed attempts at trying to get a 10. That card is a very notorious uncommon, tough to grade. The starters, Jinx is kind of in there. Every single card has an identity. I'll just throw out names like Growlithe, Caterpie, some difficult to grade commons. Ponyta, not so difficult. Pidgey, not as difficult. Bulbasaur, even within the starters, Bulbasaur is a pain to grade. Certain rares like Beedrill, Dragonair sit above the other rares. And even then, it's like all of these cards, each one has a very specific identity. This goes back years. I remember 2015 it was this way. It's always, each card has always had some type of identity. And that takes us back into this whole price relativity thing. For me, I've said this so many times, and I don't know if it translates because I type it sometimes in E4 and you don't hear the tone in my voice to understand exactly what I mean by it, but I genuinely don't care about prices. I just don't care. I don't care how high they go, how low they go. I genuinely don't care. And why I don't care is because price is what you pay, value is what you get. I'm going to try to connect all this as I do in Patreon, connect it all together. Price is what you pay and value is what you get. And that's how I see the market for life all the time. And what I mean by that is I'm not always buying the same thing. Sure, I've been buying first edition base pretty much from the jump. I've said that very publicly, very adamantly. I've been buying this from the jump because it's first edition base. It's the alpha Pokemon. I'd even say it's more popular than alpha. This stuff is just, it's not as rare as alpha, but the liquidity and the sale frequency is on. I mean, even Charizard, PSA 10, in six-figure territory. It's just in another place. It's not one-to-one, but there's a lot of similarities there. And I noticed that ages ago. This card, this set will always be the first set. So that is something I'm probably always buying. But, there's certain things where I adjust myself, depending on the price. So what I mean, again, is the value is really what collectors focus on. That's where the expertise exists. Hobbies are knowledge-based. And so, touching on the cynical angle of like bubbles and things like that, why I don't listen to that and why I don't care is because I'm just going to adjust. And I'm not alone. There's people out there like Rusty, Gary, all these guys who've been around as long as me. They're going to do the same thing. And no offense to them or myself, we're just sperms of the sperm whale. There's bigger fish out there in this water now, and that's all people are going to do is just adjust accordingly. Just like you would do, in a downturn market, you throw your stuff into more of the traditional ETFs or more conservative stocks than you would the growth stocks in a downturn. These are general paint with a broad brush strategies, but that's what you do in hobbies as well. You understand the market, you understand through that value. It's something that I'm always going to collect. I think collecting is a very fundamental human thing. It's nothing new. Pokemon is just a different option, and it's something that has stood the test of time. So when people say bubble, I'm like, sure, but bring prices back to 1999. And let's walk through this hypothetical real quick. Let's take prices back to the arbitrary line that everybody draws in the sand. What, 2016? Remember when people were freaking out in 2016, said that was a bubble? Remember that one? It's happened so many times. So many times we've heard the same thing since the jump. So let's take it back to that arbitrary time, 1999, 2009, pick your poison. What would happen in 24 hours? We'd be right back here. Because all it is at the end of the day is make first issue base boxes go to 100. People just outbid until we get to that top buyer where we are now. It would just happen immediately. That's what's really going on at the end of the day, is that people are just paying what they're willing to pay. And sure, there might be speculation. Don't hear it as that there's not speculation, that prices can't go like this. Of course they can. I just genuinely don't care, because I'm going to adapt to all that movement. And I think that's where the bubble conversation ends. That's where the bubble pops. That's where the actual bubble pops. I think in reality, what a bubble is, or at least what I've experienced, it's mostly people pontificating about what's going on in the market because they've been priced out. Yeah, we're segueing into the priced out point. I think a lot of people, they're desperately trying to get something out there to get prices back down to their comfort zone. And I get it, because there's certain goals people had. Maybe they're halfway through and they're like, man, I need to get that card. Now it's I get this all the time in Patreon. I had guys who they'll go out of the hobby for a while, come back, and they're like, man, when I left, a PSA 8 Charizard, it was a third of the price, and now they can't get it. And I'm like, well, maybe go for a 5, maybe go for a 6 or whatever. Or maybe go for something else. That's something I wanted to talk about here being priced out, is that most Pokemon cards are not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Those are the exceptions. Most Pokemon cards are under $50. By and large. I'm talking wholesale. Most of them are under $50. Everybody can afford that. Everybody can afford that. I don't care who you are. If you're in high school, if you're anybody who can legally spend money on the internet, everybody can afford a card under $50. I mean, people are buying Hidden Fates, Champions Path, whatever stonk is happening right now in Modern. People are buying that in droves. We're seeing the carts rolling on spinners in Tokyo Drift and all through the store, with people full of all the new stonk Modern purchases. So majority of the cards on top of you are under $50. When people talk about base set, there's a reason why you see an unlimited pack and a Japanese pack. These are very affordable options. Even the sealed product is still very affordable for what it is. Again, price relativity, stupid affordable. You get the same exact artwork in Japanese as you do in English. I mean, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills sometimes. And then if that's not good enough for you, don't worry. There's an even cheaper option. Evolutions will give you the same base artwork. And what has the box been? Evolutions is we got you, fam. We've been the same price for 4 years now. Evolution's booster boxes have been 100 steady. So if that's not good enough for you, don't worry. Evolution's CP6 has gone up definitely from the jump. But even then, it's still dirt cheap. This stuff is so affordable, again, for the same exact artwork. So just trying to tell you that I think a lot of people in the hobby, which is natural, I do it myself. It's something I think it's a natural human thing. Going back into this idea that collectibles are a natural fundamental thing we're all doing. We really get that tunnel vision because oh, we got to go deeper. We got to start watching the general Pokemon videos, and we got to go deeper, and then find ourselves watching this smpratte guy be really serious about it. And you get into the really, really high-end stuff, the really specific stuff. And I think we lose a lot of the broader picture, lose the broader focus of there's a lot of stuff in this hobby that's very, very affordable. And ultimately, here's the other thing. You don't really need to get the best of the best. I honestly I look at my binders more than I look at anything else. And my binder cards are what, PSA 7? PSA 6 for most of them? I don't even care. There's some artist cards I have, Komiya. Always got to talk about Komiya. They're under $1. This guy right here, this is proof in the pudding. This is a PSA 7. Let me zoom in. PSA 7 Voltorb card. This is the card I saw when I was a kid in the card shop. It's one of the things that really amplified my collecting spirit, whatever you want to say. It hits home. It does everything for me. I don't care how much it costs. It's just a card I really like. And I think that's the biggest point that's always missed with bubbles. A final point here to tie it all in. when people talk about bubbles, they're and this whole pontificating about, like they understand the market, and no one person can tell you every little in and out of the market. And at the end of the day, the biggest thing they miss is that people just don't care. I don't care. Like, what I mean is, I don't care if I lose money on certain cards. I just genuinely don't. That's why I'm here. Because I didn't care. I didn't care what people said in 2007 when it was weird to collect Pokemon. I didn't care. I was like, yeah, I just like this stuff. And I liked the challenge of finding the really rare stuff. I didn't care. And what I did care about was the value behind it all. And understanding how it all worked. And understanding that there's more to it than just the big price and just the big stonk. And I think a lot of people are getting caught in that arena. And they lose sight. Again, they need to zoom out and they lose perspective that most people don't really just care about the stonks. Yeah, it's loud. Yeah, it makes a lot of noise. But collectors are silent, and that's really what drives this market. The people going into stores and buying stuff, I talk about this all the time. They're invisible. That's what I was. 2007 me was nowhere. I wasn't on any platform. I was just a dude collecting the stuff I liked. That was it. That's what I am today. You can just see me and hear me a little bit more, but it's the same exact thing. So I just want to throw that in there again for all these people who throw out, oh yeah, it's a bubble, whatever. It's like, I think that says more about them, their perception of the market, how they value the market, perhaps, and also that mixture of like people want things to come down back to where it was. I think that's a lot. That's what fuels a lot of that talk. Again, I couldn't care less about prices. Like, bring them back down. Like, bring back down 2009. I'll be completely fine. I just know that's probably not going to happen. Sure, there might be some drop on certain things. I talk about it every month, Patreon, overrated and underrated, every single month. Sure, certain cards I think might be a little higher than others, might adjust. But overall, this idea that everything's in a bubble, I think that misses the biggest focus here, that people just love this stuff. People just have some experience with it. They enjoy it to some extent. That enjoyment is a mixture. It's not one thing. Not everyone's like me and is this crazy about it. There's a mixture there of seriousness and how much they like it, why they like it, all of that. But at the end of the day, I think that's the biggest thing people miss. And that's why I just really don't care. I do not care where prices are because, again, price is what you pay, value is what you get. Put that on my tombstone. So there it is. That's what I have for you guys. Hopefully that was useful as usual. Kind of like a preview of the monthly market recap. I do this every month on Patreon, but I'll try to do these and mix them in. Like, I know some people like seeing the cards and be opening stuff, and some people like the discussion, so I'll try to pepper both those in there. But yeah, hopefully this is useful for you guys. As usual, you know the deal. Let me know how I feel. And that's pretty much it. Till next time.